So how do you save a ton of money while preparing for an emergency? With an at-home, in-home freeze dryer from HarvestRight.com. Freeze dry your favorite foods, meats, vegetables, and fruits, and even entire meals. Make it a part of your long-term food storage strategy with an in-home freeze dryer from HarvestRight.com. Click the link below right now.
Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning in to AMTV, Alternative Media Television. It is May 17th on Saturday, 2014, and according to the bullshit mainstream media giant, the statist propaganda machine that is CNN, two jetliners in a near collision course over Hawaii being investigated. Just a total bumble F from air traffic controllers. Again, selling the idea that you're actually safe in the air when you're actually not. Again, there was a plane that almost ran into a drone here not too long ago. All of these surveillance drones now flying through our skies, controlled down on Earth by military personnel that are now, quite frankly, autonomous killing machines and potentially running into civilian airliners. According to CNN in Washington, two commercial jets that nearly collided north of Hawaii last month were at altitudes assigned to them by air traffic controllers. The National Transportation Safety Board tells CNN. The cause of the near disaster in the skies east of the Hawaiian Islands on April 25th is still under investigation. But a source with knowledge of the probe said that the early focus is finding out why the planes were assigned to altitudes that put them dangerously close. The incident was, of course, brought to the public attention when a passenger on one of the planes wrote a blog titled, see how it had to come out through alternative media? 2 weeks ago, I almost died in the deadliest plane crash ever. So basically what happened, these planes on a collision, full frontal course, about to run into each other and kill everybody on board. One of the pilots, who was a hero, obviously, took a dramatic dive in seconds and came within, I believe, 2 nautical miles of the other plane, which is really close in aviation terms, depending on the speed that the planes are actually running and the proximity of this potential crash. Again, you know, the mainstream media wants to give you the idea that you're actually safe, that it's safe to travel, just like they covered up the Malaysian Airlines flight 370 here, which I'm trying to pull. Looks like we're having trouble loading. Again, a hijacking of a plane, and one of the reasons, of course, they don't want to divulge the full truth that the plane was hijacked is that it could potentially bring down a multi-billion-dollar industry. And travel would come to a grinding halt, which would put, you know, thousands, if not millions of people out of work, crash the economy, and then, of course, the stock market would absolutely crash itself overnight and would send the entire United States financial system into absolute chaos. Also in the news today, earlier this morning, a plane carrying high-ranking Laotian government officials crashes near Vietnam. Always raises suspicions when you see high-level officials from any government, country, or company suddenly die. Plane carrying senior government officials from Laos crashed Saturday in a province bordering Vietnam, authorities said. The country's National Assembly president was on board the Air Force plane, which was carrying 18 people, according to their defense spokesman. Again, proving that the airline flight really, although statistically is safer, really isn't all that safe, considering we've had Flight 370 hijacked, and the plane still hasn't been found. We had 2 jetliners in the air in a near collision course over Hawaii that almost killed hundreds of people, but thankfully one of the pilots turned out to be a hero, but this really wasn't reported in the mainstream media until it was blogged about by one of the passengers who feared for his life. Again, all of this a cover-up, whether or not it's this potential crash here or it's Flight 370 and that obvious likely hijacking. Again, the main reason for the cover-up is they can't let this economy fail, folks. They can't let the stock market structurally collapse again like 2008. It's why they have 0% interest rates, all this funny money. It's why Ben Bernanke has been transitioned out and replaced by Yellen, who's going to continue the policies into infinity, I guess, until the next American Revolution or a complete collapse of the U.S. itself. Case in point, I read a really interesting article titled "Where the World's Unsold Cars Go to Die." Basically, new car cemeteries. You see, all of the major car manufacturers here in the United States are producing cars at a very high rate. And a lot of cars, thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions, are going unsold. So they're having to take up real estate to park these unused, brand new cars, creating these color collages all across the planet, and of course taking up valuable real estate. You can see here some of the cars in this car graveyard. Again, brand new. Nobody wants them. No one wants to buy them because the average American family owns between 1 to 3 cars, but they keep on producing them. And the federal government keeps bailing out the likes of General Motors and these types of companies because, again, it's about the structural insolvency of the United States. They can't let it fail, so they'd rather just mass manufacture cars even though there's no demand and then just let them rot to die here in these graveyards. You can see some of the dramatic pictures. Again, thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of cars. In fact, there are more cars, according to this article, than there are people on the planet. So obviously there is no demand. The supply is in excess. But you see, to continue the Ponzi scheme here in America, so people can keep their jobs, and we can just create more waste, create these more new cars so that they can be left to rot and die in these car graveyards. I mean, it's almost like we need extraterrestrials to come down and maybe buy these cars for us because there's not enough people to buy the cars. Here you can see more of the dramatic images, the color collages. This one almost looking kind of like a beige and white collage of brand new cars. Just sitting, rotting everywhere. This used to be a test track here for one of the major car manufacturers, but now they just park cars on it because there's too many cars and they can't sell them all because there's no demand and American families aren't buying cars anymore because most people don't have, $50,000, $40,000 to buy a brand new car right off the lot. People just aren't doing that anymore. They're keeping the cars that are lasting longer, et cetera, et cetera. But again, because the United States runs a Ponzi scheme here in the United States, and we got to keep these car manufacturers afloat with bailouts, like General Motors, for example, in 2008. We'll let the bondholders fail. We'll let all those retirees go broke, but we'll bail out the company itself so that they can put more cars on these graveyard lots here, all around the planet. More cars, according to this article, than there are people on the planet. Here are more beautiful color collages of just the incredible excess and waste that we love to create here in the United States. A total bullshit society of, again, 0% interest rates, easy credit, and funny money, just wasted cars that go unsold. Now, of course, General Motors and these companies could just sell these cars. They could cut prices until the demand met the supply. But see, they're not willing to do that because if they did that and they started cutting the prices on new cars, then all the newer cars that they had coming off the presses, coming off the manufacturing lots, they'd also have to drop those prices. And you see, then it would put the company out of business. You see how they're running an insolvent platform here in the United States? Whether or not it's the car business itself or it's just the financial system, again, all really just manufactured bailouts, no supply and demand anymore, just total crony capitalism and support from the White House directly, whether or not it's Barack Obama or George W. Bush. Again, dramatic image after dramatic image of graveyard lots. Cars, brand new cars that could be driven by people, but they just won't sell, but they'll keep producing in mass because, again, they can't let the economy crash. So here we have a system that is totally rotten from the core, totally not working anymore, and we've just got graveyards of cars dying. These beautiful, almost artistic pieces of collages taking up wasted space. It must be funny if you're God. It's kind of like Sim City looking down at the car lots here. Just how dumb the people really are, especially America in general. So you can see that the salty sea air is hitting all these brand new cars and probably destroying their nice, fresh paint jobs. But again, we got to keep the Ponzi scheme going here in America. I mean, what would we do without 0% interest rate mortgages and car loans? Everything would come crashing down. So we would much rather just keep the car Ponzi scheme going into infinity. We'd much rather lie to you about planes crashing in Laos and jetliners on near collision courses over Hawaii due to the retardation of air traffic controllers. We'd rather cover up Flight 370 and that hijacking. We'd rather just not tell you. It's why the mainstream media won't tell you the truth. They got to keep this Ponzi scheming, guzzling mainstream media bullshit society taking the pill. Here you got a red pill, you got a blue pill. They got to keep the American people in line. See, the minute the American people actually wake up, realize that they're not safe, realize that Flight 370 was hijacked, that could actually happen to them as well, that, government officials are potentially being killed by their political enemies, and the fact that the economy is just really pumped on thin air and bullshit and car graveyards, everything would come to an end. It would be the fall of Rome. Another empire collapsed. all because the elites are greedy scumbags who love bailouts, love taking away our freedom, and implementing a vast surveillance state whereof they persecute truth tellers like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. I'm Christopher Green. Get it out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.